grandes figuras influyentes en el mundo de las finanzas personales. Recibámonos con un gran aplauso y un grito.
This is Latinos Creativos waiting for you, Robert.
Latinos love you, brother. Latinos love you. You open our eyes. Thank you. Padre rico, padre pobre.
Robert Latino, Robert Latino, Robert Latino, Robert Latino, Robert Latino.
So Robert, what do you want to say to these amazing people?
I thank the two of you for teaching, for being great teachers. I really thank you. The story of Padre Rico, Padre Pobre, our school systems have stopped teaching. And it doesn't give power to people anymore. So I thank you for teaching, for giving power to people through here. So I'm very honored, so thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I want to say again, Blair and everybody else that was here today, thanks for being that great group. And Ken, we were talking yesterday about how come God made this happen. Many years that you guys were not on stage together, and it happens here. It happens here today with Latinos creativos. So I am very thankful to have you here. And everybody is very happy to have you here. Siéntense, hermanitos, por favor. Ya se pueden sentar. So, Ken, can you give us some idea why do you think this happened? Why are we here together?
So obviously when Robert wrote the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it's really a book about spirit. It moved people. It empowered them. It made them look at things differently. And so what Robert did immediately was he started to put together his team to spread the message. So for years, we traveled around the world. For years, we traveled around the world. Blair still is traveling around the world. And we, in our hearts, believe that this is what we should be doing.
Definitely, I think that's true. What do you think, Blair?
Yeah, we were mentioning yesterday at dinner is that we used to get together and do these things, and it's been a while since we've gotten together.
How long do you think it's been?
I don't know, what's it been, 10 years? Yeah. At least 10 years since this many of us have been together doing this, and it's magical. And so what I say is there's something about this place and the things that you do, to Robert's point. I don't know if this will ever happen again, but it's happening now.
It is?
This is a historic moment. Historic moment.
I told, we got about 4,400 students right now, and I told everybody, this is once in a lifetime. like literally having this team together is once in a lifetime. We're gonna keep seeing each other and doing things together and doing great things for everybody. But I think having everybody in one stage is one time, I think once in a lifetime for the people being here today and on Zoom too. So I want to say thanks to every one of you. We're here to serve, we're here to save lives, and we're here to make the Latinos rich again.
I'm overwhelmed. I thank you for teaching. My friend Marco Real, he told me, I said, what, I'm Japanese American, he's Hispanic American. He said, what makes him sad is when people think of Latino people, they think of a Mexican with a sombrero sitting next to a cactus. And he says, that's how people portray my people, his people, your people. So today I'm so overwhelmed because your education is reaching the people. And I really, really am touched. I'm just overwhelmed with joy and sadness. Thank you so much. Thank you for teaching the people. That's where education had to go. So I'm so touched that you're all here to learn. I'm here with my team also. I'm glad you brought the team. Because years ago, when Blair and I started off, 30, 40 years ago, we used to get together and practice how to teach. And it's really been a joyous journey to teach. So teaching is probably the biggest gift you can give yourself and other people. If we could show the cash flow board game real quickly. So I talked to, where's it? I talked to Armando and this is what started the whole thing. How do we teach the people? And so it was in 1996, this game was produced. And this game now is in 50 different languages. And it travels the world teaching. Today, as I'm speaking to you, there's games going on in the Philippines, in Japan, and Malaysia. This game comes out in Arabic, so we can teach our Muslim brothers money. Because the greatest failure of education is to stop teaching. It started, I don't know what happened, that was Padre Pobre. They think that just going to a big name school is all you need to do, but they forgot how to teach. So teaching is the most humbling profession, because you give. And so this game came out in 1996, and I couldn't sell the game. Nobody would buy this game. And so somebody said, you could do something else. So I wrote a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And the book took off. So I've known Black for about 50 years now. And as soon as Rich Dad, Poor Dad came up, I met Kenny. So God attracted the right people to teach. Thank you. Thank you very much. I mean, I'm so honored and speechless.
Brother, we were wondering how we can become millionaires. And I thought I didn't have hope because we didn't go to school, no high school, no university. But when I listened the audiobook, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I saw the story about a poor kid that was rich, I was like, wait a minute, I have hope. So I told my brother we were wondering for many years how we can become millionaires. And when we found the book, we were like, yes, we got it. Because, we opened our eyes that we were in the rat race. We were paying a lot of taxes and we knew that was the right thing. Go to make money, go and get assets that put money in our pocket. Instead, I used to drive a big Lincoln Navigator because I want to feel like a big guy. And I was like, I sold it. As soon as I listened the book and I buy a little Prius, even my friends were making fun of me. That a little car is for girls. And I was like, I don't care, I wanna buy assets. So the money worked for me, and the book opened our eyes. Thank you we understand that we need to get out of the system. Thank you, brother.
So the reason I show the game, I ask you to use the game to teach. I will find a teach. It's in Espanol.
Okay? Yeah.
And then you can teach the people. Then people can teach people. Fuck the school system.
So we're gonna use this game. We're gonna use the game at our in-person events with líderes creativos. Everybody's gonna have one as a gift. Everyone that is like líder creativo, all right? So we're gonna use it, and we're gonna use it at least once a week in our Zoom meetings for Latinos creativos. Make sure to remind me because I forget things.
So you can teach your people too, you know what I mean? You change the world that way. I want to talk to my other, not to get political, but my friend is Donald Trump. And I'm not Republican or Democrat, he's a good friend of mine, real estate guy. And the two boys, Don Jr. and Eric Trump, we hunt together. And so I was hunting with Don Jr. and Eric in upstate New York. And we went into this restaurant. And in the restaurant, people were running because, Don Jr. and Eric Trump coming in. And a lot of the staff were illegals. And Don Jr. and Eric Trump walked in there and shook all their hands and said, "Welcome to America." That's the kind of people they are. And submit. So today, I thank you for being like Don Jr. and Eric Trump, because you can teach the people now, all of them. Use the game to teach.
Yeah, it's gonna be in our program, and we're gonna use it as long as I am leader in the teaching part. We're gonna use it all the time. Now, that's the least we can do, because you're here. and we're gonna keep teaching it and teaching as many people as possible. You know, that's one thing that Armando and I talk about when we put this together. We're gonna do it right, or we don't do it.
When Kenny and I were hunting with Don Jr. and Eric Trump in Hawaii, they lost their luggage. Remember that?
Yeah, so I went shopping with Don Jr. at Walmart. And he lost all of his stuff. And you know how the checkout person had their kind of head down and just whoop, whoop, whoop. And then he handed over a black card that said Trump, and she went. And then he had some hunting gear, essentially, from Walmart. And it was in a white bag, plastic bag that you get from Walmart. And that's what he used for 4 days, just living out of that plastic bag.
It's not good.
They are they're the great kids, great young men. So that's why, and I was here for the Republican National Convention with Donald Trump the day after he was shot. So he had a patch on his ear. We're right down the street here, in a hotel down here. We're watching him on television get shot. And it's so going, wow. So he is such a good man. A lot of people hate him, understandably. But his boys speak louder for him than anybody else. There's good young men. And you guys are teaching the same thing to your people, to our people. So I appreciate being teachers. They're good. It's important to be teachers today. So thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to add something to the question when we start asking ourselves. We talk on the phone like every day, 2 times a day, and how can we become millionaires? For many, many years on the phone, how can we become millionaires? We're like, I don't know. And Armando's like, I don't know either. So, but then the question changed to who can make us millionaires? Who will make us millionaires? And then that's how the book came along. Rich Dad Poor Dad. We're like, we know who's gonna make us millionaires. And that book really changed lives. And I told everybody here, that's why of that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, we're here together today.
Well, I think the cash flow game here, I'm glad it's up, because I think that we're all taught just to be in the rat race. That's what I learned, that's what you guys learned, that's what we learned. We all learned just to get a paycheck and live, and just get a paycheck and live, make a little bit more money, upgrade your lifestyle, and just, once you jump out onto the fast track, that's really Wall Street. It really is. This is Main Street, the outside is Wall Street. And once you start to see that, you start to use the system that's fair for everyone. It's there for everyone to use. It's just a matter of, can you see it? Because if you don't, then you're just going to be inside of the system. And I think a lot of times people protect that. And I was certainly one of those people when I was a young boy. That's because that's what my parents taught me. My parents are still in the rat race. I'll tell you an interesting story. This was another real epiphany for me. My dad passed away, and I was in the unfortunate situation where I had to dig into my parents' assets. I had never ever talked to them, because we never talked about money in our home. But I always remember my dad telling me that I have an insurance policy on your mom. Your mom is covered. My parents were together 60 years. And my dad used to say, your mom is covered. I've got this insurance policy for your mom. I remember as a kid him saying that. So now I was in a situation where I'm looking for that insurance policy. The insurance policy was $10,000. And he bought it in the 60s. But as a kid, I remember him talking about it. Also in the 60s, they bought their home for $10,700 at the same time. So in the 60s, the insurance policy was $10,000 and the house was $10,700, almost the same. So when my dad passed away, the insurance policy was worth $10,000 and my mom's house was worth $700,000. And that's when I learned the difference between inflation adjusted assets. It was really very interesting because the insurance policy that my dad believed that he had all those years wasn't hardly anything compared to the home. And my mom was not a real estate investor. She was a hairdresser. My dad was in construction. They still own the home that I grew up in. It's the same home. So now, I took that home, my mom's home, because she wanted to move into elder care, and we rented her home, and the cash flow from her home pays for her elder care. So she's still able to keep her home. So this real estate stuff that we're talking to you about, I'm seeing in real time. You guys, one small step today or tomorrow or next year or the next year, it grows exponentially if you just let the system and inflation and everything do its thing. That's all. You don't have to touch it. Just let them keep printing money. Let them rise the price of oil. Let inflation do its thing, because what you're buying today is going to be worth more with inflation later. And that's all that happened with my mom from the 1960s.
Let's say Blair, we met in Hawaii. And I was making wallets, nylon wallets, and ran a surf shop. And one day we started to study.
That's right.
And so today was nice to see Tom Wheelwright up here, because when Blair and I started to study how to teach, one of the persons that joined our team to teach was a gentleman named Carl Haushalter. And he was a managing partner of Arthur Young accounting firm. So today, to see Tom Wheelwright teaching what I'm teaching, and he's teaching all over the world now. But Blair and I just sat there every Tuesday night teaching. And then one day, Spirit hit us. We have to teach. So Blair and myself and my ex-wife Kim, we left our jobs and moved from Hawaii to California. And we were homeless. But we kept teaching.
That's right.
So thanks for years of friendship.
Those were brutal meetings on Tuesday night. We would get in front of a room and just tear into each other. You had to go up in front of the room, handle objections, present again, until you got passed by the rest of the crew. There were times when people go to the front of the room and get hammered. I quit. And then Carl Hassel, that was you. Can I tell the story? Yeah. So I'm sorry. So Robert goes, "That's it. I'm done." He goes, "I'm going to go do my presentation my own way." And then he went to walk out, and Carl Hassel was pretty big boy. And he stands in front of the door. He goes, well, Robert, if you're leaving, you're gonna have to get through me first. Like that. And we're all sitting there going, ooh, this is gonna be good. Two big dogs. And Robert looked at him, he looked at us, and he goes, I was only kidding. And he went back up. Though to his credit, he went back up and again and again. And so that's why his message and his ability to teach is second to none. I've never seen another person that could go into a room, into a crowd, into a country, and get a sense of what was wanted and needed right in front of them. And that's what when you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it's a message. How many had that book resonate with you, touch you? Very few books like that. But it took a long time to learn to teach.
And so today, I was watching Tom up here teaching, and now he's going to use my game to teach accountants, to teach entrepreneurs. And that's how we change the world. Not by going to school, but I'm so honored. I can tell a person by their work, this is your work, you're beautiful people. I'm blessed. I'm honored to be here today, really am, because you're creating teachers. And that's what the world needs, are teachers today. Thank you.
Should we talk a little bit about capital? What's that? Should we talk about capital? Like capital, like what we were talking yesterday about how savings, because everybody here knows how to save money, I hope. But we don't know how to invest or how to turn savings into capital. Because like that's one thing that a lot of people don't understand, that money, having a saving account or having money saved is not having capital. Having capital is having a property that is a real asset. Do you want to mention something about?
Yeah, I think it's important to learn savings. It's important to have reserves. It's important to have cash, liquidity for things. That's for sure. But it should not be your strategy. So I think what happens is, one of the reasons that we like to teach is that the system, Wall Street, through financial planners and wealth managers and all those kinds of people that are in your pocket to have you buy those financial products, that's the system. As long as you know how to work the system, that's okay. But even my own family, I asked my brother, how's your stock portfolio? How are your assets? He said, I don't know. They're being managed by somebody else. I said, well, what are you invested in? I don't know. Whatever they told me to invest in. And I think that's very typical. It's very typical for people to turn over their hardworking money and not knowing where it's being invested. And so all we do is try to teach you to know how to use capital, how to use money correctly. You have to have money as insurance, for sure. Everybody needs it. But you don't need it to invest, just like I showed you earlier. All you need is a real good deal. I always tell people, just go find a vacant building and find a tenant for the building. It's that simple, literally.
And not only that, is that money doesn't make any difference after a while.
Right.
Just, I think 3 weeks ago, Kenny on a refi. So it's Forest Ridge.
Our third refi, by the way. That was our third refi.
Third refi.
We refinanced that property 3 times.
So he takes out the equity and gives me the cash. Then I go, what am I going to do with this cash? But the good thing is my background. I went to school for oil. So I drove oil tankers for Standard Oil of California. So I understand oil. So Kenny gave me $1.6 million in a refi, tax-free. And I don't want the cash. See, that's what happens. Because, oh, I gotta have cash, I gotta have cash. You don't want cash. You want the asset. So, Kenny gave me 1.6. I took $1 million of it and I gave it to Maselli. Maselli's my oil guy. So that money is now in an oil field in North Dakota, pumping oil. So again, there's oil, cash flow from oil, but the money he gave me is pumping oil. Plus, I don't pay tax on that oil. And it's just so fast I got rid of the cash. And I know most of you are sitting out there, you said, I wish somebody gave me 1.6 million. It gets to the point where you don't want the money, you want the asset. And that's what you guys are teaching here. So, thank you very much.
I'll just add. But you got to start with where the money started with. So 15 years ago, when we bought the property, we've refinanced it 3 times. So
He gave me cash 3 times.
each time,
And it still pays me money.
yes. So he's still a partner. And so it's important to understand that the money that I gave Robert, because we took $14 million in our refinance out of this project. I gave Robert 1.6 and some of our other partners more money. That money was already tax-free. And then Robert invested it in oil and then got another tax break with the money that was already tax-free, right? So that's how the system works. The IRS tells you where they want you to invest. They want you to invest in housing, oil and gas, solar,
Billboards.
they tell you what to do. So, you know, once you start, that's why we typically don't like to sell properties. Because when you sell, you have to go find another deal to buy, and you pay a lot of tax. So you just keep harvesting it over and over and over using debt.
The biggest thing, if I can pass on to you, is I don't want the cash. If you can understand that, as soon as Kenny gave it to me, I go, now I gotta find an asset, you know.
He was mad, I gave him 1.6.
But that's what happens when you get financially educated. I know most people are here to make more money. I don't want the money. I want the asset, and that's what I see you teaching.
Yeah, exactly what we're teaching, you know, like how to get more assets and not money. Again, you know, understanding what the difference between having savings and how our money invested in a real estate piece that is cash flowing monthly. That's the beauty. That's the beautiful thing to do. And everybody here, I think, as Latino, I understand that our parents teach how to do savings, but not how to invest. And that's what we're doing here, trying to change the mindset of the Latino community to be investors.
I don't save money. Savers are for savings, losers are savers. If you can understand that, you'll know how badly I don't want that money. I want the asset. I want the debt. That's what I want. I want the cash flow. I want tax-free cash flow. That's when you become a capitalist, not a saver. Very big difference mindset.
Is why it's very important to keep getting more assets. Usually the Latinos, when we have a business or we have properties, we get the money and we spend it. We don't spend it, we reinvest it. It's why me and my brother, we keep buying more assets and more. And refinance, for example, I buy a house for $45,000 and then I refinance a few months later and they gave us $120,000 after we used paint to do a couple of things, you know. And I'm just remembering I need to do another refinance because now the value is more than $200,000. So, and when we refinance, we don't pay money on this debt. No, we don't pay taxes, I'm sorry. My English is not very good, you know that, right? And when we refinance, I went to buy another duplex for $45,000 and I got a car, you know. Yeah, I got a car because we didn't have a lot of properties and my car was the Prius is still the Toyota Prius. So it's very important keep getting the assets, you know, so they put money, so that we get the money to keep reinvesting, you know. It's very important, change the mindset, everything. Remember guys, the poor say, poor mentality, or poor that, I cannot do it. But the rich, how can I do it? You know, everything is here. Thanks, because we learning, and still we learning. Thank you, Robert.
And I wanted to use, the reason I like real estate is I get to use debt. I would not use debt to buy stocks. That is dangerous as hell. So what you're teaching is to use debt, because money became debt in 1971 when President Nixon took the gold out of the dollar. And at that point, the people that learned how to use debt got rich. And my stupid family all went to school. They saved.
I would like to ask you like one last thing. We will have to get done here. But one thing you would like to say to everybody here? Many of them are already have a lot of homes, but a lot of them just don't start yet. So what would you tell to everybody here with all the experience you have? Last message to this crowd tonight. What would you tell? Last message. Last thing would you like to tell them today?
I think that Robert said it. You know, we had a teacher once that said to us, I think I mentioned, you learn to teach. I'm not gonna promise you anything. I'm not gonna promise you money or anything, but you will become the person you want to become. And that's what kept me doing this. And as Robert said, the beauty of what's going on here, this education, this teaching that you're doing, is extraordinary type of teaching. It's financial education for sure, but it's also transformational education. People are watching person after person come up on the stage from the leadership program saying, a year ago I was at the end of my life, and now I see life, I have money, I have assets, you know, and I feel like a person again. That happens with teaching. And so that's what Robert and I learned. I didn't know I was learning that then. We just thought it was a good idea. But he had a very smart mentor who said that. And so my message to you is teach what you learn. Teach other people what you learn. It's good for you to learn. But it's even more, as Robert says, people teaching people. Nobody can stop that. No government, no nothing can stop that. And so don't stop teaching.
The reason Blair is such an important part of our team, Kenny is really debt. I want as much debt as I can get. And there goes, why would you want debt? Because that's what they teach you in school. Live debt-free, losers. Anyway. But Blair teaches the most essential skill of entrepreneurship. You've got to sell. If you cannot sell, you have no income. So that's what he teaches. So that's why what Blair teaches is essential for anybody who's going to be an entrepreneur, because if you can't sell, you got no money. And so the story I always say is, I was coming out of the Marine Corps, and I was a pilot. All my friends were becoming pilots for airlines. And I said, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And my poor dad says, oh, don't do that. Entrepreneurs are crooks. And I said, my rich dad said, you going to be an entrepreneur? I said, yes. I said, what do I have to do? He says, you have to learn how to sell. I said, I don't want to sell. Because in my poor dad's family, salesmen were bad people. It's all family. So my poor dad's family, if I became a salesman, I'd be a bad person. That's why they're poor. And I'm talking to my rich dad, I said, no. I don't want to learn how to sell because I'm going to piss off poor dad. And my rich dad looks at me and says, Robert, how's your sex life? I said, none. He says, because you can't sell. All true stories, you know. So family has a lot to do with it. A lot to do with, like, my family, debt is bad. My family, with me, debt is good. Salesmen are scum in my family. College degree is everything. And AI is going to wipe them out. AI is going to cause more unemployment than we've ever seen before. So that's why we've got to be shifting to assets, not college degrees. Big difference right now.
What would you tell everybody here tonight before we wrap up?
I think I'll also talk a little bit about this story. My son, many of you have kids. There was a time where the teacher said, everyone needs to pick a career in this class. And so the kids were picking things like doctor or fireman or CPA or whatever. And my son said, I want to be an entrepreneur. And the teacher said, that's not a career. And so the reason I tell you that is because the system is set up against a lot of you guys. You're going to have resistance in the classroom, with your friends, with your family. My family has no idea what I do. I'm not kidding. They're in the rat race, and that's where they will stay. And so I just want you to know that you're in the right room at the right time with the right people. You are. And I'll just leave you with one really simple investment philosophy that I have. And it's really very, very, very simple. Just invest in things that other people pay off. That's it.
What Dave Ramsey says is live debt free. Now, Dave's a friend of mine, but he's a fucking idiot. No, it's the US dollar became debt in 1971. If we stop borrowing, the economy collapses. It's unpatriotic not to borrow, but you've got to be careful what you borrow your money for. And that's what you're teaching. I would never borrow money to buy stocks. Okay, but what you're teaching is real estate has a chance, like Kenny says, somebody else will pay your debt for you. That's a big difference. So the US dollar is dead. If we stop borrowing, it ends. It's kind of frightening right now, and we're very close to ending. So anyway, be careful right now, but get educated before you just go out and borrow and do stupid things with money. Okay?
Armando, last thing you want to say tonight?
First, I want to say, I was talking with Robert around 4 months ago, and I told him, my very rich dad, God put him in our life. Because I was looking for girls at church. And I met this girl, she was singing, and I really want to be next Sunday again at church. And I say, can you please tell me what songs we will sing next Sunday? And I was looking for these songs in YouTube so I can practice. And I found the book. So God put him in my life, in our life. God. And I say, my richest God put you in our life, and now my poor dad is here. But he's getting rich too. He's getting rich. Thanks God. And thanks to God, they are here. This is for sure. He's real. No. Thank you. And if you change your life and you get good administrator, even other people give you the money and you can use other people's money. And you know, one guy came and said, oh, do you need some money? And I thought maybe 10,000, 15,000, and I say, sure, we can have some money. I give you the money, you pay me some interest, and I said, sure. And he gave us 1.4 million. And I was like, oh my God! You know, so we buy, at this time, we buy 3 properties for 99,000, 7 apartments, a restaurant, and you know, we double and triple this money, you know. But this is when you become a good administrator, when you get financial education. This financial education is very important, guys. Very important.
I'm gonna go in Spanish here. So, yo lo que quiero decir nada más es, hermanitos, gracias Dios por todo. Gracias Dios por tenernos aquí, gracias Dios por cada uno de ustedes, gracias Dios por tener a ustedes aquí, gracias hermanitos a todos ustedes por creer en ustedes mismos. Gracias Dios por todo. Thanks God for everything, just like you said. And thanks again, Blair, Robert. We're very glad you're here, and we hope it's not the last time. Thank you.